Hey Toyboys, my name is Shiipty and welcome to a new tutorial series on the channel called The Creator Diaries. So hi guys, welcome to the channel. As I just mentioned, we are going to be starting a new tutorial series on the channel. So I often get asked a lot of questions like how I do my thumbnail, how I edit my videos, what programs I use, what equipment I have, all of those questions. So I'm going to pop up a list over to the left. These are the videos that I have scheduled already. If you don't see a tutorial in here, but you're interested in knowing about something, please go ahead and comment that down below. But today we are going to be doing a tutorial on thumbnails. So I'm really excited to do this because, as you all know, I think I've mentioned before, but I take photos in real life. So I've always really loved Photoshop, editing photos, and just like photo manipulation. It's always been a passion. I started at a very young age of like 10, I want to say, because I was playing IMVU and doing all those kinds of things, and just I always wanted to just get into it. So I know a few tips and tricks, and I will be trying to show you those today, but I'll make it very user friendly so you can do this at any beginner level, any age. You can do it. I'm gonna make it easy for you. So our sim we're using today is Nalani. She's going to be the face of my island living let's play that you guys voted on, and I thought it'd be really cool to use her today because I'm just so obsessed with her right now. I am currently using a reshade, but I am using my friend Ocean's reshade. It's the Ocean Light reshade. I love this because it's just a slight enhancement for the game. So this is with the reshade and this is without the reshade. So before, it's just kind of dull, a lot of gray tones. I really like the vividness with this, and even if the colorfulness is a little bit too much, you can tip that off and it looks fine. But I do like the colorfulness on the sim, so I'm gonna keep that. And the reason I like using reshade is because I have this option here. It's a depth of field option, which basically causes the field in the background to be more blurred and primarily focus on your sim. So if I activate that now, as you all can see, the background is blurred, but my sim is in focus as well as the sims next to her. I'm going to isolate my sim a little bit. That way we don't have all of the housewives talking to her. We have Nancy Landgraf, Bella, and even, who is this? What's her name again? Meredith. Oh no, that's Judith. I'm sorry. Judith and even Lily Fang. Why are all the housewives here today? But I'm going to bring her over here because it just looks better to have less distraction in a picture. Look at this as almost as if you were taking a picture in real life. You don't want the background to be super busy, and always face the sunlight because it just gives you the best lighting. So with today's tutorial, I am also going to be using poses, but you do not have to have poses. I've done a ton of screenshots and thumbnails in the past where I've just done actions in the game, so you don't need this, but it definitely helps if you're trying to portray a story or just get a specific pose that you have in mind. So I get a lot of my poses from Pinterest and Tumblr, and I can link a tutorial on how to get this. So this is not that kind of tutorial, so I won't be showing that today, but I will link one below and also everything that I'm using. So you're gonna click your sim. Sometimes it'll be here on the first panel, but if you go to the second panel, you will have the option to either pose by pack or pose by name. I always recommend to pose by pack because unless you know the full name of the pose, it's kind of difficult. So we're gonna go to pose by pack, and the pose that I want to use today is actually this sitting pose. It's called the cute sitting pose, and it's by Neonika, I think is how you say it. And the pose that I want to use is this adorable pose right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and exit that, and my sim is just gonna pose automatically. Isn't she so cute? She's so cute. And now I also want to change her outfit. So if you don't have MC Command Center, change your outfit before clicking your pose, because you won't be able to. So I'm going to change her outfit into something a little bit more casual. I like her outfit here. And now we have our image. So I can show you guys how to blur a background when it isn't blurred. So if you don't have reshade, I can show you how to blur it completely. But since I do have reshade, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bounce out of this. I'm going to go ahead and go back to my reshade, and I'm going to turn on my depth of field. And again, you guys saw this earlier, but it just blurs everything out and it makes your sim look more focused, which is what we want. Okay, now that I have my pose, it's all about angles, it's all about picture, it's all about what you want, what's your style. You know, you can always change up your thumbnails. Don't ever feel like you have to be boxed in completely. You have some people who don't have text on their thumbnails and some people who do. So if you have text, my suggestion would be just to leave a little bit of room, because sometimes it can be too much if it's overlapping the sim, and I know it stresses be out because I just don't want text on my sim. I want them to be on their own. So if you wanted text in your picture, I would just always recommend to leave space. So like something like this, you could put all your text over on this side. And if you want something up close, you could put all your text on this side. As you all can see what I hope that's making sense. But the picture that I want to take today is, I think, something like this. I like this pose. So whatever you use to take your screenshots in game, use that. I also do not advise that you use the image capturing that's within the Sims game itself. Like, let me show you guys, is this down here, like this little camera? I hate this. I never ever have used this, and I never will use it. So it just makes my pictures look a lot, you know, blurry, and so I just like the camera option within Reshade. So I'm gonna hit my button, which is my print screen button, and my image is captured. So I have one like that, but always, like I say, you know, just make sure you get a bunch of options and variety, because you really just want to have, you know, options to work with. So I took one off to the side and one centered, and I think that I want to take one like this as well, just like a full body shot. But now that we have all our pictures, we are going to go ahead and hop into our editing software. Okay everyone, so here we are in my editing software of choice. I use Photoshop, but you do not need to use Photoshop. Before I used Photoshop, I actually used GIMP, which is a free program. It's amazing. It's very similar to Photoshop. So I really love GIMP. It's amazing. It's something that I stand by, and it's such an amazing free program. But I also have a few other suggestions that I've used in the past, so I'll pop those up on the screen. So of course we have to edit our image now. So I'm going to go to File and I'm going to click New. And these are my presets. So this is the thumbnail preset that I use all the time. Please feel free to pause the screen and copy every single setting that you see here. So since we are using the thumbnail one, I'm gonna go ahead and click Create, and it's gonna open up your blank slate. Now you could always work in this file, but I am I don't even know, just particular about how I edit my images. So I'm gonna open my image in a separate tab. So I'm gonna click Open, and here you will see where I have all of my screenshots, every single one. But we have the pictures that we just took in game of my sim. So the first step I want to show you is going to be the option that you guys can do if you don't want to download the other option that I'm going to show you after this. So we are going to duplicate our layer, and the way you do this is you grab your background layer over here on the right, and then you drag it down to this one that has like a square and a plus sign in it, and it's going to duplicate, and it should say background copy. If you don't want to do it like that, you can always side click your layer and you can hit duplicate layer right here, and it'll ask you, and it does the same exact thing. So now that we have our background copy, go ahead and click that second layer, and we are going to go up here to the top where you see filter, come down, and you're going to see stylize, and you're going to see oil paint. So click oil paint. Again, this is all on the second filter, and these are the settings I use for when my sims are up close, so feel free to copy that. But since she's a little far away, it does kind of make her eyes a little bit more blurred, so I'm going to actually bring some of this down just to get her eyes more in focus. Then I'm going to click OK. So you can copy these if you need to. So now that I have my picture and everything is smoothed out, it looks so good. Now there are some clips in her legs, but that doesn't bother me because it's a sim and she's a more curvier sim, so it will probably clip for certain things. But this is the first option that you guys can do, and I'm going to show you before and after. So this is after and this is before. As you all can see, it just smooths it out and makes everything look good. And if it looks blurry, don't worry, I always sharpen my image at the end. So I am going to basically undo this and I'm going to show you guys the other option. I like this option too. It just depends on my mood for the day. So I'm going to come over here to the right, and you're going to see the actions button, which is just a play button. So you can click this, and the package that I use is the Clean and Clear package. It's a set that you can get online. I think that they're a fellow simmer if I remember correctly, but I only use one specific thing in here. You can play all these actions if you want to, but I just like the texture smoothing because I already have the color that I'm going for with my Reshade, so I don't want to change that. So I'm going to click Clean and Clear texture smoothing, and I'm going to come down here and hit this play button. When you hit the play button, it applies this very just light layer. As you all can see, I'll go ahead and zoom in a little bit closer to her face, that way you guys can see it a little bit better, maybe a little bit further out. There we go. So now we have our image. This is after and this is before. This is a subtle smooth. I like it. And you can also come to the opacity and change it from 50% to 100% if you really want to. And this is what it does. I really like the 100% sometimes. It just depends. And now that I'm done, I'm going to side click and I'm going to flatten my image because I want it all to be stuck together. The next step we are going to be doing is shading. I love shading. So you are going to, again, duplicate your layer, same step that we did before, drag, drop, or side click. So I'm going to come over here to the left panel and you're going to see this little thing right here. It kind of looks like a dot with a line in it. It's the dodge tool, but if you hold it when you click it, it's going to give you an option to change. So I'm going to go to the burn tool because we are doing shading. These are my settings up top. I have a 27% exposure, I'm on midtones, and 0% for the degree. So I have a soft brush. I recommend using a soft because it's not as harsh as a hard brush. And basically wherever you see shadows, I am going to hit those areas. So I will show you in a sped up version and then I'll show you the before and after once I'm done. Okay guys, so I just finished shading my image. As you all can see, I just hit a lot of the areas that were darkened. Almost look at it as a way of contouring. So this is after. And this is before. It's very slight, but it does make a difference. And some of you might be like, oh, that's too much. Don't worry, you can always come to your opacity and you can lower it a little bit. Sometimes I like to separate the face and the clothing because a lot of times I like dark shades on my clothes, but I don't want something so harsh on my Sim's face. So I'll separate the layers and do them individually. But for the purpose of this video, I did it all together. So I lowered the opacity to 48%, and now this is after and this is before. Now it's just like a subtle change, and it does make a difference because it's enhancing those shaded areas. So now that we've done this, I also forgot to do our collarbone, so I'll do that now. But now that we've done this, I do want to go ahead and right click, sorry, and flatten the image again. And I'm going to duplicate it once more. And now we are going to do the highlights. So again, when we came over here and we got the burn tool, you're now going to select the dodge tool. With the dodge tool, we're going to treat this as if you are highlighting your face. So if any of y'all are into makeup, this is going to be easy for y'all. So basically, I'm just going to highlight the areas. I'm going to save the hair for a separate one and I'll show you guys how I do that. So again, I'm going to speed up this portion and I'll talk to you guys once I'm done. Alrighty guys, so I just finished my highlighting and I have to say highlighting is probably one of my favorite parts to do. So this is after and this is before. I did hit the eyes just because I wanted the eyes to pop a little bit more. And as you all saw, I did the nose, the cheeks, the chin, the lips, and the teeth. So it is sim to sim basis. Like sometimes I will do the lips and sometimes I won't. Sometimes I do the teeth, sometimes I won't. So I am going to come back to opacity again and lower it down. This time I'm going to do about 65, I think. And again, just toggle it on and off and see if you like it. I think I like this one. It looks really good. And now that I have finished that portion, I want to show you guys the hair because the hair is very interesting. You can do this whichever way you want. It just depends on your personal preference. So we need to go ahead and merge down our old layer. Sorry, I forgot to do that. So I'm going to flatten my image again, and now I have a single layer, and now I'm going to duplicate it once more. Now I'm going to make a separate layer. Don't follow me on this because I'm just showing you guys the paint pattern that I'm going to do. So don't copy this portion. I'm just showing you, okay? So with the hair, you always have to be careful because sometimes if it's black and you try to highlight, the areas can look gray. As you all can see right here, she kind of already has like a gray tone. But if she was sitting like this, I would want to highlight the areas here, here, and the strands obviously. So she has some highlight here, highlight there, and you know, just where it is lighter, that's where you would want to highlight. And also don't be afraid to come back here and do the back side of the hair. So those are just distinctive lines of what I would do. Now if I had a sim that was like turned to the side, I would do the halo effect. That way, I don't even have a picture, I'm so sorry. If I did, I would show you guys, but I would do like a halo effect, like if they were turned to the side and this was like the side of the head. Hopefully I can pop a picture here and show you guys what I'm saying. But yeah, that would be where we're gonna hit our highlights. So I'm gonna delete this, and now I'm gonna work on that duplicated layer that we had. So again, use your dodge tool, and I'm just gonna take it and I'm just gonna hit these areas where there is shine. So now that we have our highlights done, I'm just going to toggle it on and off, and there you go, you can see it. I feel like it works a lot better with brown hair because you can really see the highlights, but you can do this with your sims with black hair too. Don't let it like keep you in a shell. Also, since we're still on the hair layer, I'm going to come over here and change my dodge tool back to my burn tool. With the burn tool, I'm just going to hit the darker areas, and you can use this at any size because it's just hair when it's black. But if you're working with other colors, I would say change the size of the brush. So I'm going to size it down just for this area, and it really makes a subtle difference, but it's there. As you all can see, it's just a little darker in certain areas. Like up on her roots, I made it a little darker, and yeah, that's kind of all I wanted to do with the hair. So now I'm going to go ahead and flatten my image again, and we have our single layer. So I did tell you guys that I would show you all how to blur a background if you did not have a blurred background already. So the way you can do this is, normally it should be a magic wand tool. If it's not, it'll look like this quick selection area. But I'm going to be using the quick selection tool over here on the left. Click that, and I'm just going to duplicate this layer so I can show you guys. And I advise that you do that anyway, because if your blur is too strong, you can always lower the opacity. But this gives you this little circle brush with the plus sign in the middle. If you click your background, it will select all the color that blends in that area, and depending on how big the brush is, it might actually grab onto her face like you guys just saw there. So don't worry, just come up here to the top and hit the -1, and you're just gonna go back and take away that that selection that it made on your sim, and even get like these little black parts, because trust me, it will show. So now that the sim is out of the selection, let me get this last area here. I missed it. So now that my sim is out of selection, you're gonna come up here to filter, you're gonna go to blur, and you can use the Gaussian blur if you want. I personally like the lens blur because it gives like a camera effect blur. So lens blur, and it'll bring up this separate window here. These are the settings that I use if I don't have a background blur. So if I click OK, it just blurs the background. As you all can see, it's subtle because I already had a blur, but that's how you would blur the background if you needed to. I did want to show you guys that because since our background is already blurred, we don't have to do that, but that would essentially be my next step. So now we're going to sharpen our image. Now I don't duplicate the layer for this because I feel like I found the perfect sharpen settings that I like. So come up here to filter, and you're going to go down to sharpen, and you're going to click smart sharpen. With this, there are going to be some settings that I already have. As you all can see, I have the Sims 4 custom preset, and these are settings that I made a long time ago, and I really just like the way it looked. As you all can see here on the left, it already shows you how sharp it's going to be, and even if not, you could always hit this preview button, it'll tab it on and off. So I like this sharpness, so I'm gonna go ahead and click OK. Again, pause and copy these settings if you need them. Sometimes I'll go back and do it twice depending on if my sim looks sharp enough or not, but I think she looks pretty good because this isn't going to be the full size of the thumbnail. The thumbnail is going to be probably about this size, and as you all can see with the sharpening, it really makes your sim pop. Now, like I said, sometimes I'll come back and I'll go to sharpen and I'll smart sharpen it again, and it makes it even more crisp when the image is small, because this is what people are going to see. They're going to see a smaller image. I'm going to take away the second sharpen, and I'm just going to leave this first layer. So now that we have our picture, now I'm going to drag and drop. You can also copy this layer if you want to. It's just personal preference. I'm going to grab my little tab up here, and I'm going to pull it down, and I can have them both side side by side. And once you do that, I grab and I drag. It just is the easiest way for me to do it sometimes. But you can just, like I said, copy, paste it if you'd like. Now, as you all can see, it did kind of make our stem up close, and she's like right here. So it's like, oh my gosh, all the work I just did doesn't fit. Don't worry. Come up here to edit, and you're going to click free transform. And you can size it up to your liking and say this is all you wanted to do. That's great. You can save it and you're done. But you do need the save settings, so I'll show those at the end of the video. But for those of you who want to add text or, you know, do something fun with this, I'm going to show you all the tricks with the text. So go ahead and click this T button. It's your text option. Now, I get a lot of my fonts and I have always gotten them from this website. I've used it for like 10 plus years. It's called defont.com, and they have a ton of personal text that you guys can use for your videos. I really love that website. It's so versatile. You can even type in what you are going to have in your text and it'll show you what it looks like. So I would consider her like a current household, right? We could do it like this, or this is where you get creative. So you can do it like this. A lot of times I have done it this way, where I have like my text right underneath. Now, if some of you are like, oh my gosh, my text is too far apart, I don't like that. If you come over here to the right, you can click this A with the bracket next to it, and you can actually mess with this. You can bring your text closer. You can make your letters bigger this way. You can space your letters apart by using, oh no, this is not the one, it's this one. You can space your letters apart using this option, and with this option it just pushes your letters further apart from one another. So I've seen some people do this, but again, it really is truly up to you. I am going to go ahead and cancel that because I don't need that. And let me go ahead and change this back to normal, because like I said, I'm not going to be using the space option. So now that I have my current household, you want to find a placement for it. Like, do you want it up at the top? Do you want it down at the bottom? Where would you like this to be? Me personally, I want to do it the way that I was showing you guys originally, where I had it kind of like this, because I think this looks really cute. So now you also have some more options up here at the top. So if you come up here where you see like your font, your size, your sharpness, everything, you can actually click this little T right here, and you can pick if you want arches, if you want it to bulge. You can do like a whole bunch of fun things with this. Like, look at that, it's like a little wave. But me personally, I feel like this arch is going to be kind of cool, so I think I'm going to use this, and I'm going to place it, I think, like right here, and I will just keep it like that. She looks so cute, and it's like the text is right here above her. I don't know, it's just like her in the middle and then current household. It looks so cute. As I mentioned, I have a variety of different fonts as well, so this is where you can get creative too and just change it up. I have been using a lot lately this font called To Japan. It just looks really cute, but when you change your font, it will change like the way it's displayed on your screen. Okay, I finally got a perfect font size for my video. Now that we have it all set up here, you have your font picked out, you have your effect picked out, you can also now come over here to your text layer. You can right click it and click blending options. It'll bring up this window, or if you don't want to do that and you want to be like me, you can double click it and it'll open up your blending options and your layer style. So this is a very fun tab because you can do a lot of effects here. So I personally love to do a drop shadow. As you all can see up here, it does like this little shading underneath my letters, and it just kind of makes it pop a little bit better. So you can do this, and there's also the stroke option, which a lot of people use. If your text was, I don't know, maybe a different color, let me click this just so you guys can see. Look at that. Isn't that so cool? And you can go to the size and you can like stretch it up if you want to. Again, it all just depends on like what you're going for and what you're using. But this is actually kind of cute, low key. So I think I'm gonna keep it. So I really like the way our text looks now. So I'm gonna go ahead and click OK. We have our shading underneath. We have our shading right here. And I think that looks really good. Now, if you want to be fun and you just want to make this, you know, pop even more, you can do that. Sometimes I'll take my brush, I'll make a new layer, and I'll just do like little doodles on the side. Again, this is like personal preference. If you want a straight line, if you hold shift and do it, it'll give you a straight line. But I just like the messiness of it. So I will just add my little flare off to the side, and it looks so cute. And let's say you want to copy over the effects that you did here. Well, you can do that. If you right click your text layer, you're going to see copy layer style. So click copy, and then we want to apply this to our other little doodles off to the side. So you're going to right click that layer, and you are going to click paste layer style. And now you get those same effects on the doodles. You can do this with your font if you want to keep the same consistency and, you know, just keep it going. So say you really like this text and you want to use it for every video. Maybe it's your logo for the video and you just want to keep it consistent. You can come up here to file and you can click save as, and you're going to save it on your computer. Sorry about this. And it's gonna bring you up here. I like to keep a lot of my stuff in my documents, so I would save it and leave it as the PSD, so that way every time you open that, you can grab and drop the text that you're using. But we have our text. I think she looks super cute and she's really in focus, and I think this is what I would use as a final product. So now that I have that, I'm actually gonna take off my little effects because it's too busy for me. But I like the way it looks. So now you're gonna come up to file and we're going to click export. You're going to go to export as, and this is very, very important because YouTube tries to be funny and tell you that you can't use certain settings. So make sure that you copy these settings exactly how they are. And then you're going to click export and save this to your desktop, your documents, wherever you want to keep track of your thumbnails. And then you guys should be good to go. So that concludes our video today. I hope that you guys learned something, or you learned a new trick that you can incorporate in editing your thumbnails. I want to thank you guys so much for checking out this video. Again, if you have a tutorial request, please pop that down in the comments section. I had a lot of fun showing you guys how I do my thumbnails, so this was very interesting and very fun to do. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you all next time. Bye everyone.